Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all here in this webinar session being conducted by TNV Academy. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Ajay Bajpai. In this webinar today, Mr. Ajay Bajpai will discuss about integrated management system auditing. Mr. Ajay Bajpai has audited several organizations for integrated management systems and has helped several others for their implementation as well. Our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, has done his bachelor's in engineering in metallurgy stream. He is also a lead auditor in ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, 37001, 22000, 27001, 13485, 22301, and 50001 standards respectively. He has an industrial experience of around 38 plus years in field of manufacturing, quality control, quality assurance, design services, and technical testing. He has been imparting training to a number of organizations, entrepreneurs, and individuals on various topics related to ISO terminologies and their certification and implementation. It was just a brief introduction of our guest speaker today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ajay Bajpai. I may request Mr. Ajay Bajpai now to please take over and start the webinar.
Thank you, Apur, and a very good morning and warm welcome to all the participants of the webinar on IMS. I'm very happy to see the team participating into these meetings in time. As I was discussing the definition of in time, maybe we'll discuss the non-conformities and the reviews and disposal when we discuss in time. But in every meeting, every seminar, everyone has an opportunity to learn. Like the team whom I was talking to just in the beginning of this seminar, I have learned a lot from them. Like one of the persons, Suryakant, he is a person, he remains very serious, but he talks very specific and to the point. So that is the beauty of his character. Anil Yadav has got an expertise on training development. I have learned a lot from him. He is having a very high speed in development of the training material. He can develop any training material with little support from me. I'm thankful to him. Rishabh is a software expert man, a computer man like many others today. He is supporting our organization in a great way. Apurv is the one who is organizing these training seminars, he's supporting us. I am sharing this because we all learn from each other. So anybody who is participating into this meeting, his first concept should be that learn, learn and learn. There is no end to learning. Education, training, learning is what we all will live in this world after we reach the God. So IMS is something. Why I spoken the name of so many persons, because there are so many persons, in the similar way there are so many standards, and every standard has got a learning for us as an organization, as a trainer, and as an auditor. We all want to become good auditors. Good auditor means who understand the technology of auditing, who understand the concepts of 19,011, 17021, various IAF mandatory documents as are released and updated continuously by International Accreditation Forum and our accreditation boards and national bodies of various countries. So in few lines, I have related all this certification chain. Why I have done this? Because IMS has not been any standard in past. Somebody, if he says IMS is a standard, then it is a question of discussions and debate. Whenever there are more than one standard, anybody is giving training on, or anybody is providing consultancy on, or any organization is implementing within their organization, whether manufacturing, service, or any chain, supply chain, he is standing in between. He is going for more than one standard, so it is called IMS, means Integrated Management System Certification. This concept started, if I am correct, only 20 years back. Before that, all companies were going for individual certification, individual inspections, individual, customer specific requirements. And they were getting into, there's just a lot of problems, because every system, every standard, every visiting trainer, every visiting auditor, every management, top management knowledgeable person was giving guidance in its own way of understanding. Somebody in the organization or in this interested party supply chain management is having expertise on 9,000. So if he talks about IMS, when a company is going for 9 and 14 standard, his all focus will be driving down to 9,001 requirement, 9,001 requirement, because he does not understand 14,000. He has not the concept of 14,000. So this has been a problem which has started 20 years back. And we always understand that problem brings solutions, risk brings opportunity. So from there onwards, we have started discussing what is called integrated management system certification, which is not a requirement from any of the boards from anywhere in the globe or world or the universe. It is the requirement and choice of the company, what they want to actually look into their company as a value addition, because the theme is value addition. It is not a requirement of any trainer or any auditor or any accreditation board or anybody in the globe to see what a company wants. It is the company's own decision, own thinking, own own production plan, own processes, own behavior, own implementation done in last many years without attempting IMS certification, because they are existing, they are surviving, so they already have some system. So now let us get down to the real business, real talks. It is related to 9.2. We know auditing, internal auditing is common to any standard. Most of them are following the same clause 1 to 10, and 10.2, part of continual improvement, where we have got non-conformity review, actions, rework, disposal, and so on. So these reworks, disposals are everywhere, into management systems also, into products also. It is under inspection also. It is under product certification also. But they all get interrelated as we go on into documentation and implementation. So the first and foremost important requirement is IMS reporting information. International standard means combination of 91445 or 9144522 or 2214 or whatever, because these ISO various standards have certain requirements for documentation and hence reporting. So we conduct the audit and present a report to our management, and finally it is reviewed by the first party, second party, third party auditors. Second point is we need to improve upon IMS. In last discussions we have documented IMS. We have made systems of management as per the requirement, and we have now started implementing. So after implementation, we are going to conduct the audit, and then the theme is to improvement the effectiveness. And depending upon the organization we have, depending upon the culture we have, depending upon what product processes we have, depending upon what PADCA and what management principle they have already implemented as a base to implement IMS into their organization, it depends upon various factors. Number one, the complexity of processes and their interaction. This we all understand as a knowledgeable person, that any organization will have different kind of process. It may be simple process, it may be a semi-complex, it may be a highly complex process. We have discussed that in past. And the interactions, and what kind of interactions we have documented, defined, and implemented. So auditing will depend upon all these factors, and of course the competence of the individuals and the auditors, because when we are going to build a team of auditor, this plays a very important role. What will be a combination set of auditors as per 19,011 and as per the requirement of IMS? Then competence of person. This is 2, 3, or 4-way system, and ultimately I will also taking it to a boiling point to interested parties. We are surviving because of interested party. They have interest in our business, so we are surviving. They consist of auditors also, statutory and regulatory board also. So it all depends upon the competence of persons, including auditors. So how competent they are in documenting, reporting, auditing, implementation, IMS, performance and auditing depends on all that. Last point is level of integration. I have seen the systems of various certification bodies. Fortunately, I have been instrumental in laying down the foundation stone of Association of Certification Bodies in India, ACBI, in 1994. Since then, I have been instrumental in discussing into various forums of certification bodies. Everyone defines a reporting method of integration in their own ways, but everybody needs to take one point into consideration, that what is the setup of organization. Level of integration is fine. How much they can integrate it depending upon the first party, second party, third party, and surveillance and recertification and value additions coming out of IMS are accountable. So we need to understand many organization certification body which say 10% integration, 20% integration. They just write some percentage. But when we look into the details of the report, I conduct a lot of report reviews. Every day I do some report review. So I find this integration of various companies is needing real improvement when we talk of effective auditing. And also it depends upon level of integration into the training. When we conduct the training, we want to understand what is the team, what kind of understanding they have. We cannot just get into a training session without understanding the level of integration of the understanding of the participants. So it is equally important in all the facets of IMS auditing and training. All these are interrelated. If you can become a competent trainer, I normally believe one can become a competent auditor and vice versa, because he has understood the concept. Now, we go to the key elements of ISO documentation and implementation and auditing and the functions of the organization. Documentation we have understood, so now we are getting into the auditing part of it. The first one is context of organization, clause 4, the beginning of the standard for real implementation. Clause 1, 2 and 3 are only for guidance and meeting the requirements of the board and so on. So this is very, very important. What are the internal and external issues of IMS? Not just quality, environment or something. Let's look into conceptually what we are looking at, the internal issues, external issues, and then how our interested parties are involved into all these functions. So this is very critical with respect to the initial phase of auditing, because many auditors will start auditing from here. Documentation has been started from here. There is no thumb rule. But many people do it. Many, when I say 60-70%, I always want to quantify. 60-70% of the organization, trainers and consultants will suggest start understanding the auditing part into context of organization. So do an audit of that. Interested party. We understand interested party and their interests. Interested party, simple concept is interest. What is their interest into our IMS auditing? How we can check the performance of interested parties to make a effective IMS, and how we can report the points into interested parties perspective when we conduct first party, second party, third party, whatever audits we are doing. Systems and processes. Without system processes, things are not moving into organization. So similar way, auditing function will not move if we don't have understanding of systems and processes by way of effective understanding of systems and processes. So auditors need to understand these common elements and move on effectively. So now we come to leadership and commitment. Without leadership and commitment, auditing cannot be done. So what do? We understand the team leader concept. We understand the concept of the team members for conduct of a effective IMS auditing. We cannot just make a team and say yes, that IMS auditing is done and we have got one team leader and few team members. Their commitment, their understanding as a leader with respect to IMS is very critical, because in IMS one team member might have been given responsibility of conducting more than one standard. There may be 4 standards into this IMS applicable for the company which we are conducting via internal or external audit. So we need to understand those factors and then conduct the audit. IMS policy. When company is going to formulate the policy in the beginning of the implementation, I say it with respect to implementation, because if the auditor can understand why and how implementation is done, what is the theme of implementation, then they can do a effective and competent auditing. Without understanding the theme of documentation implementation, audit results are not what we are looking forward to. So understand the IMS policy, that yes, we are asking questions. The questions, if I am supposed to do IMS policy clause 5 audit of a company who is manufacturing diesel generator sets, then I naturally will ask some questions on quality. I will naturally ask some questions on their noise pollution control policy, their vibration testing policy, their chemical testing policy, their policy on control on the vendors and suppliers who are providing them the testing facilities. And I will also like to ask questions how this IMS policy has been amalgamated with the requirement of the company, how it has been gelled, how it has been infused into the company, so that all the team members are understanding that and they have the theme plan clear to them. So then my question should be going towards that direction. Organization roles, responsibilities, and authority. As I said in the beginning, the organization can always go for independent standard certification. We have companies where we still go and do audit 9 separately, 14 separately, and 45 separately. Maybe they have not matured or they don't want it. They don't want it to be an integrated audit. They want it to be separate audit because of their organizational condition, their top management views and requirements. We cannot enforce them anything as an auditor or as a certification body or as any board. It is the ultimate choice of the customers. So there we need to ask the question, what is his role as an IMS responsible manager? Maybe for 2 standards, but there are 3 standards. So as an auditor, I have to ask questions of his responsibility, his authority for single standard, or double standard, or triple, or quadruple, or multiple standards, whatever kind of situation. We have audited and certified companies where there are more than 5-6 standards. We have enjoyed that because we could have a feel of how things can be integrated when we have got so many elements involved into the responsibility of a person. When he is FSMS, a team leader, he is doing CCP controls also. At the same time, he is also getting the vibration monitoring organized. At the same time, he is also a part of the noise control team checking for safety requirements, maybe, or EMS requirements, maybe. There are multiple requirements. So, and what are his authorities? So, questions should be asked with respect to that. Auditors, many times we have observed, particularly new auditors will get into wrong discussion and wrong questions. From FSMS team leader, they will start asking, he is not responsible, but they will ask, sir, can you please show me the vibration monitoring report? Sir, can I see the emergency preparedness record when a fire has broken? Emergency requirement is common, but for FSMS purpose, emergency is not fire or electricity circuit, short circuit in principle. FSMS emergency requirement is totally different. Those who understand FSMS, they know. So the concepts are different, requirements are different. With respect to the auditing, responsibility and authorities are also different. If companies have defined wrongly, then it is our auditor as a this thing to highlight it in the form of non-conformities and observation, whatever major, minor, they are falling into the category. But we need to specify. Lot of organizations, in our experience of 20 years, we have seen have problems into this clause of roles, responsibilities, and authority, because individuals are individuals. Whatever training you give them, whatever brainwash, the highest level of the teachers and gurus can do into the organization, into the trainings. For many organizations of IMS, I have seen they are calling gurus. Why they call gurus? This is not a matter of insignificant or not related to our subject. I have seen many organizations utilizing the gurus and the preachers when they are concerned with the safety and security of the intellectual level, the brain mapping, the brains. The mental health is very, very important with respect to health and safety standard certification. Doctors are involved, gurus are involved, preachers are involved. I have been a part of, 2, 3 such sessions where these lectures were going on. Some guru or guruyanis were there and they have been teaching, and we have really enjoyed with them because they have been talking with respect to specific requirements of mental health of a person working repetitive jobs, repetitive responsibilities, or changing the responsibilities in 1 hour, 2 hour, changing the job profile in 2 minutes. Now you are asked to conduct a training of supervisors. In 2 minutes, you get a mail from the top management. No, no, our customer is coming. They want to see this workshop number 1. So don't take the team of workers of unit number 2. You go elsewhere and train. So this person is puzzled at times. So how he had to keep his mental health also equally under control is a part of responsibility, roles, and authorities. Then comes what? Risk and opportunity. Partly I have discussed it, but it is again into in most of the standard, and the revision of 2015 9000 and thereafter followed by other standards was with the theme requirements and the key requirements of this kind of opportunity. So they were there, they are there, and they will be there. But identify the risk. So let's audit their risk identification process. Not just look at the what are the risk tables in. Many auditors will just go and say, sir, I have verified the risk table. That's all right. They are going for certification. So to meet the requirements of the clause, they have documented and they are implementing this. But as an auditor, if you want to follow the principle of value addition into the auditing, you need to go and audit their risk assessment process. How they have arrived to risk categorization. Have they just copied from here and there? Risk level 1 to 2, risk level 5 to 2, low, medium, high, risk critical. Please understand that. And then see the opportunities which are coming out of this implementation. The question will be, my friend here, into purchasing head department, what opportunities you have been able to brought into the system? Now I'm talking of say re-certification. In 3 years of certification into your vendor development system with respect to the communication of your IMS policy, or with respect to MSDS being supplied to us when you are supplying a critical chemical to my organization. So that will be the question asked to a purchase manager. Then he will be able to either show or not show. Then we will say whether it is NC or conformity or observation or whatever. Then comes IMS objectives. The world is talking of smart objectives. So IMS objectives equally need to be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and target oriented. If IMS objectives are such that they cannot be tracked, if they cannot be put into the form of percentage, values, facts, and figures, then improvements theme of IMS is lost into our auditing. So our auditing questions will be focusing upon where they were 3 years back, what happened 1 year back, what happens 6 months back. It did not take much time if our concepts are clear. If we have reviewed the documents of the organization before reaching the organization, if we have studied the website of the organization earlier, if we have seen the last audit report, our question points and our checklist will be coming tuck tuck like this, and we can review and audit the IMS objectives, and we can discuss what improvement can be brought. As an auditor, we always want to discuss that. We don't give any advice as third party auditor, which is very much possible in first party and second party audit. But yes, IMS objective auditing needs to be focused. And any auditor who does not have the capability of counting, I again give a stress, any auditor who does not have good background and knowledge of mathematics and science, if he is going to do IMS objective audit, he will not be able to bring improvement because he cannot do that, because in auditing we don't have all the time in our hands. a person should be calculate 10 to the 20, 3 into 3 9, 40 into 3 120, 50 into 4 200. This is what needs to be calculated into IMS auditing at the back of our mind when we are IMS auditors. So that's the key elements. There are few more elements also, but these are the key which we thought out of our 30-35 years of experience. IMS auditing further will take into account to infrastructure requirement, because unless a company is strong with respect to infrastructure and related supports, IMS auditing will not bring good results. So we have to see into audits what is required for quality improvement, what is required for EMS improvement, what is required for health safety improvement, what is the infrastructure you required for CCP calculation when it is a critical control point of category falling at 9 at a scale of 0 to 10. What do you do in FSMS? So an auditor who is going to audit infrastructure with respect to FSMS needs to understand this concept. He need not to ask, sir, do you have a computer? Sir, do you have a laptop? Today anybody will have that. And even if he does not have, the mobile devices are smart enough to conduct those functions. So let's become intelligent auditors when we go for auditing infrastructure. Competence. What do we audit in competence? First of all, we need to understand what is the competence defined by the organization. In clause 6 and various other interrelated clauses of 9.2 when we talk of competence of internal auditor, and management review when we talk of competence of management review committee. So they're all interrelated. So we need to ask those kind of questions which will lead to answers. Yes, IMS system of this organization or this particular department where I am supposed to conduct audit for next 1 hour, I can bring out points which will make this organization's functions more competent with respect to IMS. That is the questions I will ask. Communication. Again, it gets linked to the responsibility authority and so on. Who is responsible for communication? To which level? Am I the purchasing manager authorized to communicate with the vendors? Maybe, may not be. It depends upon what organization is defined. Many auditors will have phobia. They have an experience of many organizations. So they will see, oh, sir, this communication is not good. I saw this communication in Siemens Germany unit at Frankfurt. They were very good. Fine, okay, they were very good. But today, my friend, you are auditing this company who is in a village near Jalandhar in Punjab. So don't try to compare the communication levels here and there. Look at what company has documented. Please ask, please discuss the questions and checklist with respect to what the organization is. Because when I was implementing system, I have implemented QS 9000 system in one of the companies, and I was very much shocked to have a comment from one of the biggest, largest certification bodies of the world, making a comment, sir, your infrastructure does not meet the requirement as compared to other companies of similar nature of the products. I was very sorry to give him a reply, but I said, sorry, sir, we are not interested in continuing with certification audits with you. We have made 20% of the fees. I was the vice president, so I could take the decision. And I was the MR also. I said, sorry, sir, you have stayed 1 day of stay in our guest house. Very good, but thank you very much. We'll write a official fax because the mail was not popular those days to your organization, the team of certification body. We are not interested. Many organizations will leave certification, go away from auditing, and they will not implement system if wrong questions are asked from them, and if they are asked to implement what is not required by the standard. So let us understand what is the communication requirements into various clauses and ask questions with respect to that. Now, coming to emergency preparedness and response, it is having little variations into various management standards. Few elements are common, that yes, whatever emergency system, document, employ, deploy, implement has been subject to internal audit. If I am doing a third party audit today, I will verify those results with respect to that particular standard. I will not ask a OSAS person how you have done the air emergency test. I am a fool if I ask that. I should be asking FSMS person what emergency preparedness you have done with respect to the glass being mixed when you are preparing a bread, or what happens if a chemical is flowing more than what is required, maybe the 80% of it. If I am into a hospital, I may ask what is the anesthesia quantity you have given to a person who is going for operation, because there are situations we know by experience more anesthesia has made persons totally mad at times. We know those situations. Less anesthesia has spoiled the operation because the patient woke up in the middle of the operation. So our questions, if you are into a hospital with respect to anesthesia, with respect to operation theater, will be meaning to what is a emergency situation with respect to their products, process and services, and then go on asking more questions. Don't stop as an auditor. Then comes internal auditor and internal auditing. This is again common in most of the management standard. The names may be little bit different here and there as classified by various organizations, but the theme is internal audit, so that the effectiveness of the overall IMS is enhanced day by day, slowly. Follow the principles of timing, PDCA, slow improvements. Then management review. Management review function is again common, names may be different. Our questions with respect to what standard they are implementing as an auditor. If Suryakant is the single auditor who is going to audit 9,000 and 14,000 of a company like motor car manufacturing, then he will definitely ask questions related to quality improvements discussed in management review, productivity improvement discussed in the management review, how their percentage of customer satisfaction is improved and analyzed into management review. Then if he is doing the EMS portion also, as I said, Surikant, he will ask what is the environment performance of the organization of the motor manufacturing company today, because we are into a first surveillance audit. We have certified them very good. They must have been meeting the requirements, so they have been recommended, and they have a valid certificate. But what is the status today? Many organizations will try to show the same old minutes of meeting. So Mr. Surikant should not get flown or biased because of those good feelings given by some top management team. He should be to the point, fixed to the point. What is the status today, sir? And what are your improvement plans? Because IMS you are implementing. What is the clause 10? How will I audit clause 10 if you cannot show me good results in clause 9? I will pass it down to my team leader who is going to audit clause 10, and you may have a situation where you may find it difficult to reply. So please develop a good system, show a good system to us so that we feel happy that we are into a recertification and you have really learned and earned the benefits of IMS certification. Improvement, fine. We have been always discussing improvement, which is again a part of the all standard, mostly globally. So that is the theme. If we can achieve that into auditing, and our questions can be related to what improvement done, what improvements are planned, how improvement are following the various degree charts. So that is all important. So these are the common elements. Desired results. Desired results we have been discussing in between the last 3 slides. But again, there are a few points which makes the life simple and simplified in our suggestions. I mean, we don't say to do it at IMS, but yes, audit plan, schedule, reports are simplified. Training can be done as a common element. Internal audit team and handling of the reports can be common. Summaries can be common. Multiple documents need not to be made. Management review, tracking becomes simplified. They need not to conduct 3 management reviews. Don't say it is good or bad. It depends upon the decision of the organization. But yes, as a common logical statement, if anybody wants to make in the world, he can say yes. If a common management review meeting is conducted, then the time of the various management team function is brought under control, maybe reduced or increased. I do not know. It depends upon purely upon what is the nature of organization what are their commitment level, and how they want to see IMS being implemented. But yes, good systems are good systems, average systems are average systems. Worldwide, it has been accepted that yes, IMS systems are good. IMS management review meeting is good. It brings better results. Repeating the activity is minimized and controlled in respect of all the activity. External audits are simplified and effective. We are third-party trainers and third-party auditors, so we always vouch for that. Why I always and we always vouch for that? Because we don't have to send, many auditors. I say many because today I don't have a company example where I will say these many auditors will go. Many auditors may not go to a company for audits at times as per the requirement of IAFMDs and as per the requirement of what we have identified and documented as per our audit mandate chart, which every certification body does. Same is applicable for training also. So simplification is definitely done and they be found are effective. Overall cost of internal audit reporting and certification is definitely getting reduced. That has been a proven fact. Nobody can have a doubt on that. Then planning is going on. Now we are, documents are to be checked. Report formats needs to be checked. The revision status needs to be checked. Distribution and circulated needs to be checked by IMS auditors with respect to 9, 14, 45, 22, whatever report format they have. And we also need to see that the training has been effectively implemented into the company and the board of director auditors. This has been done by the company. So now we are going to check it out. So our planning will be to train our team of auditors when we go for IMS auditing. We spend some 10-15 minutes with the team before the start of the audit or after our whatever is available as per the third party audit plan prepared by the team or the team leader. So give briefing to the team member, that is the job of lead auditor, that how he is or they or she are going to audit this function of top management auditors and management team, because auditing internal auditors is very difficult because they are also trained as per 19,011 and many of the organizations I have seen, multinational organizations, there the internal auditors are highly qualified, much more qualified and trained than a third party auditor. So a third party auditor can also learn a lot when he are doing the audit of a company as an internal audit function or top management. Many top managements are so enlightened, they can teach many auditors in 1 minute. That is how they are surviving in this global competition, and they are able to eat themselves and provide bread and butter to thousands and lakhs of people who are working into their organization. Then comes the display. How the display to be done, how audit the display, how to conduct the audit of website, how to conduct the audit of marketing documentation. That is a key to success for IMS auditors. If they can learn and if they can bring good results into this, yes, IMS audit is done. Then auditing of responsibility and authorities of IMS team and top management again needs to be conducted effectively. More, I would say, standard based by the team leader, because he is an experienced person in the team. Most of the times, what our experience is that is junior auditors or less trained auditors conduct the audit of top management and IMS audit team, they are not able to derive good results. Then effective usage of SAP and software systems, we need to check into the IMS auditing as an IMS auditor, how well they have implemented and what is the kind of blending of the software done with the IMS implementation. And so let's audit the IMS system linked to SAP, ERP and other softwares. We can do it, but we need a training for that. Anybody and everybody cannot do the audit of effective audit of these systems unless he has got a good training background done and good checklist is available to him given by certification bodies or team. Then communication with organization and all interested parties. When we do the audit of this function, we need to have sufficient knowledge of understanding of interested parties and what is their role into IMS implementation for this particular organization. And then we get into a communication. I and my type of auditors has no hesitation in calling to many interested parties when we are going to audits. I remember last audit when I called a company in Goa who was their safety team leader, and they were taking the help of a MSME group of organizations for safety and mock drills. I called their fire station, and then the fire station improvement came. So we can do, so that is the meaning of communication. How you communicate with them, how you communicate with the customer requirement checking for IMS implementation, for EMS, for an automobile company, for supplying of a typical critical lubricating oil. You can always ask. You should learn how to ask. Then you can do it. Then action plan goes on. We keep on implementing the IMS auditing policy procedures, and we check effectiveness of them through our audit questions and checklist. We also needs to keep on checking the IMS knowledge of the organization. If enough knowledge is not within the organization with respect to IMS, then the auditing will show it. Our second party, third party auditing will show what kind of knowledge they have on of their own process, procedures, objective, and the risk associated with IMS along with the report. Risk is everywhere. As I said in the beginning, if we force an organization to go for sir, go for IMS because it means money for a training organization, it means money for a certification body, it means good money for a IMS marketing person because he gets all the fish together, he gets all the money together. But since we have unnecessarily forced him, there can be a risk. We always believe a trainer and auditors in long-term business goals achievement. So we may achieve a few, $100 more by unnecessarily convincing him to go for IMS, whereas I know they are not worth going in for IMS today. The company has started just 1 year back. Their systems are not just established, not stabilized. So don't force them. Don't try to unnecessarily convince them. Take them into a through proper route, proper channel. Next year they will go for second standard. Second surveillance they will go for third standard. Always are. No problem. If we are going positively with good mental thinking, trying to support the organization, trying to support the customer, because the customer is God. That's what we all believe. Customer is God. So don't try to play with the feelings of God. In fact, He is playing with the feelings of ours at times, which we don't understand, and we try to become more smarter. Today is the yuga of the world is into Google. Anything and every information is available. When you are sitting into a marketing talk, he is reviewing already with the 10 certification body and 10 trainers. So be intelligent enough to understand all this and do an audit by having a theme of it. Then updating of policy objectives and IMS reports and chart is an ongoing process. Without that, success is not achieved into IMS auditing, and same will be our questions into IMS auditing. Then we go to the next chapter. Implementation is going on, and the main theme is we need to run the IMS report format, enhance the effectiveness of IMS report. 3 years back, what was documented as an IMS report format into organizational knowledge function may not be effective today because the things have changed, the technology have changed, the manpower has changed, the customer base have changed, customer requirements have changed, the knowledge circulation of customer requirement into organization have changed. Earlier it used to be hard copy, today it may be a soft copy, tomorrow it will be a 100% software driven company. So we have to keep on updating that knowledge of our audit team also with respect to the current practices of the auditing, so that we can do effective auditing. Again, when we do audit, accurate calculation, precise calculations, if we can do as an auditor, then we can add value to the organizational function. We need to understand the plus minus, the range, the percentage calculation, the charts, and so on. Then only we can do an audit. Because many clients will not agree to your point immediately. How do you do that? You have to demonstrate positively by showing them the calculations. So you should have a calculative mind. When we give training of lead auditors, there are capabilities and qualities of auditors. One of them is this analysis of data and all should be available with a good auditor. Then we should review the facts and figures of the company and involvement of the team into IMS implementation. And then our audit report will be talking about the facts and figures of how effective is the IMS implementation into this organization. Not just by saying in the report 80% integrated, 20% not integrated. IMS, MR is common, is non-common. That's not the theme. The theme is to see that yes, our report should bring improvement into the implementation of IMS into the organization. Then last chapter is analysis and future actions. This needs a lot of experience in an auditor to conduct the audit. Many auditors we see under training, they don't have this concept because they have not worked into industry. I am sorry to say that many auditors of many certification bodies globally are not having much experience of working into industry by their own hands. They have not seen the process and products happening. They have been approved somehow or the other by collecting the documents from left, right sides and make them approved auditors. But many of the auditors, I'm still very sorry to say this, make this statement. When we discuss them practically into our forums and meetings, they really have not seen the real world of implementation, where the organization is dying day and day out to save one paisa. They want to save $1 from their preventive maintenance system. When we talk of effective mock drills into maintenance system, so let us understand the real requirement. So I always tell my team of auditors when fortunately I am a team leader into the audit, let's see the working of the company. Let's understand the working of the company. If you don't understand this products and process effectively, maybe you are doing a audit of a purchase activity or marketing activity where it may not really be required as a selection team by the certification body, but still I would like to make their concept clear. Let them go through the process flow chart so that every activity is interlinked to other activity. Marketing cannot go totally away from a production assembly unit. It is always linked because the vendors are supplying the components which by help of marketing or the purchasing department are going to be used into our production facility. So they are all interlinked. So if any auditor does not have the concept and he does not have a good checklist, he cannot do a good IMS audit. So for making an effective IMS auditor, he needs to be given adequate input by certification body. He needs to be given effective input by IMS team lead auditor. Then he can audit these various functions, and all these various functions required a lot of study, lot of understanding of the company's function. IMS audit, particularly if we leave 9,000 together with other standards, or we don't look at 9,000 function, we want to focus on other standards. Most of the other standards are technical process oriented standards. They will always be talking of products, processes. In 9001 also it is there, but it is limited. But we always suggest auditors to spend a lot of time onto the site. When I say a lot of time, the required as per the standard is 80% time on site. But if you have to really become a good IMS auditor, and if you have to really make an organization coming added to you for many years and continue with you as a certification body, then you need to add value to their operating system, their manufacturing and operating processes, and that you can do only when you understand the practical operations of the organization, and you understand the calculation, you understand SPC, SQC. An organization which is going for IATF with 9,000 and 14,000, they have got a very great role of MSA. So if an auditor does not understand that, he will be moving like a Buddhu person in the organization. He will not understand the implication. His questions will not be relevant. And one day when organization gives feedback to certification body, they will say, sir, please don't send Mr. Sharma for audit to our organization because he really have less understanding of our organization. So we don't want improvements should not come to our organization. We want improvement. So please send Mr. Verma and Mr. Tarma and Mr. George, who has added value to our organization because they understand IMS, internal audit, external audit. They have the concept clear with the tracking of and effectiveness of the IMS. They know how to do trend marketing understanding into a management review meeting. They understand the meaning of NC. They just don't write a NC. They discuss with our team when we are giving them a reply into a second party or third party or first party audit. So the management review meeting is being tracked by our team, and we as an auditor conduct a effective auditing. But understanding the requirement, the clause requirement, the function requirements is very, very important for an first party, second party, third party auditor. Any auditor cannot do audit without understanding the products, the processes, the organization behavior, the last audit report, the, the future plan of the audit, and so on. An auditor, when he is going for a third party audit, many organizations I have seen, they would like to, in the opening meeting itself, they will say, sir, we are also going to add another product line into this. So can you guide us on that? As an auditor, we don't guide, we don't tell the implementation technology to them. But yes, we can spend some time, maybe before the closing meeting or after the closing meeting, if this particular product and process of their new unit is going to make impact on the existing operations of the company, or even if it's not going to impact today, it may give an impact tomorrow. We are all talking of continual improvement. We are not talking of ISO, IMS implementation or auditing for only today. We have to see that organization exists and they bring improvement for many, many years. And our auditing, IMS auditing becomes one part where we can show them good direction. We can teach them into some open training house sessions. We can always tell them that, yes, we also conduct open house training courses. Send your candidates. We don't do a marketing there. We only try to tell them that, yes, you can learn techniques. There are many improvements going on. There are many webinars, seminars going on. Since we are into this business, we are aware of it, and our office team may forward the link to you. You can join them and learn more because they know end to learning of all this. So IMS has been a learning. It is a learning. It will remain a learning always because more and more standards are coming, will be coming. So they will always become one more part of the IMS. So we need to keep on learning this IMS technology always. Now, once we have understood all this, most of the part of IMS chapters, then here are the links of ISO certification. You can apply and attempt to, get into our various websites, which are very, very knowledgeable. We have got a team who is always, adding value to our websites, making it more and more real time and active, so that you can learn all these techniques of IMS auditing, IMS certifications, and so on. So thank you very much. Now I get back to the first slide, and my job as a discussion of the slide seems to be over, unless the participants have questions. So Apur, anybody has questions?
I request all the participants, if they have any questions, they can please ask now.
As usual, Apur will tell, but I am also telling any of the participants and anyone who is going to view this video, they can always, send a question on TNV Academy emails. There are websites which I have shown to you. You can visit those websites. There are emails available. One can reach me on my mobile number, on my email ID, which can be shared by Apurv and team anytime with you, and you can gain knowledge and live in the world without having doubts and questions, and become a good implementer of and good ISO IMS auditor. Thank you, Apurv.
So as just said by Mr. Ajay Bajpai sir, if you have questions in the future, you can always find this particular video on our YouTube channel, which is from the name of TNV Academy. And this particular video will also be uploaded on that particular channel. So if you have any questions in the future, you can simply put your questions in the comment section of this particular video, and we will be sending those questions to Mr. Ajay Bajpai, and he will be definitely reverting back with the answers. So we can now conclude this particular session, and I would say that I'm really glad that we have been benefited by the knowledge shared by Mr. Ajay Bajpai on such a vast and complex terminology, which is also a very critical element in the implementation of IMS standards across any organization. I can also say with much confidence that our participants must have enjoyed the context of today's webinar, and it will definitely add value to their expertise and domain of work. I promise on behalf of TNV Academy that we will be coming up with more such webinars on various topics related to ISO terminologies. And I will thank you from the bottom of my heart, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, on behalf of TNV Academy for giving your valuable time and accepting our invitation to be the guest speaker for today. I also thank all the participants for taking out time from their busy schedule and joining us in the webinar today. I hope to see you all again soon. Wish you all very best of luck on behalf of TNV Academy for your future endeavors. Thank you once again.